I am a rock that has learned to float wherever the main streams and currents will go. I'm a bird that has learned to walk forsaking the heavens, too afraid to fall. I am a winner who has settled for a tie between living the truth and living a lie. I'm a genius who has learned to sleep on the backs of fools onwards towards naivety. I'm a star that's learned to extinguish its light so it won't feel alone in the darkness of night. Afraid to be seen outshining the rest, we live in denial, sacrificing our best. For the love of blind men leading the way, we sell all tomorrows just for a day. But I'm a seed predestined and born to grow into the mold to which I was born. So before I live these God-sent dreams, I must first forget to learn and just be me. I wrote that over 7 years ago. The title is I Am. That last part is still difficult to do. Forget to learn and just be me. And that really is what I'm here about today. To just be me. That's the world that I want to create. But people say be yourself. It's a common statement. They say, okay, be yourself. Everyone is already taken, right? And so society propagates and promotes the concept of being yourself. I'm an individual. I'm me. I'm different, right? But at the same time, there's like this undercurrent that's saying the exact opposite. That's saying, don't be yourself. Don't be too much. Like, you can change your hair, you can like these movies on Netflix and stuff like that, but fundamentally, want what we want. GPA, make enough money, have a good title, and you're set. Oh yeah, consume. I forgot about that. So, real quick, this is just funny. As I was walking here today, I saw this, I had to take a picture and I had to post it. So I have a couple statements. God bless the advertising department here. But it says, be cool, be hip, be unique, right? And so it's saying like, yeah, be cool, be validated, right? Be hip. If I was in the 70s, the same thing, be cool, right? And then be unique, right? And you're like, okay, yeah, be unique with Haas gear, right? Like with us. Like, be different by buying what we have. And you have all the commercials that say the same thing. You're different. You can stand out, individualized, you're separate. But make sure that you purchase this because it won't happen unless you have that, right? So who are we? Who are we if we don't take the time? And so I have this kind of, my mind is fracked trying to figure out who am I? I could be cool, right? But I'm also kind of a nerd, but I can't be a nerd, right? So we have this tear, and we limit ourselves to a certain type of being. And so when people ask, who are you, or what do you do for a living? They say, what do you do for a living? You shake their hand and you give them the answer. What I do for a living, because I'm defined by what I do, right? This is what I am, right? I'm a UC Berkeley alumni. I'm a personal trainer, lifestyle fitness coach, behavioral researcher. Tell me that sounds good. I'm a behavioral researcher. Tell your friends about me, right? This is what I am. But at the same time, I'm none of these, right? At the same time, I'm not this. I'm me. I'm Berké Brown. And Berké Brown is defined by my presence. You are learning who I am right now. This is who I am. And so, my vision is entirely selfish. My vision is only for me. I don't care about you. I'm kidding. But you benefit from it. My vision is to be myself, however that is. And for you to be that as well. And to not be afraid or held back by being that. And so this is my vision. I envision a world where boundless imagination and creativity is applied to life itself. Where the very art of living is mastered and evolved as each individual is empowered as they fully express their unique greatness in the world. As they fully express their unique greatness in the world. Now, when you look at it, it sounds very pretty, right? But there's a lot that is inside of this. Inside these words are me and a life that I have lived. And what I want to do is cut this up a little bit so you can kind of see who I am in the process. Who I am, what makes me? What makes this vision come alive? So let's take some time. First, it says a world where boundless imagination and creativity is applied to life itself. Now, when you think of boundless imagination and creativity, what do you think of? Me, I think of a kid. I think of children. Where you don't know what failure is, you don't know what threat is, you're always joyful, the most mundane things make you happy. I remember when I was a kid, I would play with my toys. I had Ninja Turtles. I had every Ninja Turtle that existed. I had them all. And I would play with them and they would fight and I would create universes with these things. I would play and the carpet would be a desert. And the tub, when you put it up with water, it's an ocean. And then the refrigerator is a cryogenic chamber where you freeze your toys and they come out in the year 2016, right? So this is the world that I created. But where has that gone? As we grow up, that imagination is dwindled down to what do you do for a living? I go to this school. I dress this way. This is who I am. And so we define ourselves by these things that are so tepid and small. Where has it gone? And what happens if we bring it back? What if we brought that same type of mentality to our life today? Freud said that the child is father to the adult. The child has existed longer than the adult has. Does that make sense? My child has more memories than I do because I'm new at being an adult. What if we really took that concept where we let the child lead as opposed to the adult telling the child to be quiet? And what if we became ourselves with just enough cool, just enough sexy, just enough nerdy, just enough whatever it is that you are, and it's not defined? If we bring that back, what does it look like? The next part of my vision. A world where the very art of living is mastered and evolved. And I love the concept of art of living, right? I don't know, it sounds good to me. Art of living, how do you define that? Pink Floyd. No, what it is, listen to the album. No, it's a prism. And the way that I see it is, on this side is me, my spirit, my soul, my vision, who I am, right? This prism is me. It's my physical being, my mental attitudes, the way I see the world, and these colors are the way that I manifest. All the things that I do that all spark from the vision, the spirit, me, right? That is the art of living. My goal is to master that. And it comes out in so many different colors. It doesn't have to just be one. But I didn't always believe that. There was a time when I thought that I was only one color, and that color was music. I was a musician. Now, there was different hues to the color. I was a musician, a singer-songwriter. I did neo-folk, soul music, hip-hop, did all this different stuff. Played guitar, loved guitar. Enjoyed the feeling that I got when I played music, when I saw people's eyes light up, when I saw them inspired, when I saw this transcendence that reciprocally happened between the both of us, between all of us, this energy, the pulsating energy. I lived for it. I was a musician. I was music. But then something happened. In 2008, I got a callus on my vocal cords. And I wasn't able to sing. What I had thought is that I had mastered my life, but I mastered my art. My art was art. My living was art. It was music. I had mastered it. But I had not learned to evolve. I had not learned to crash and survive. Because I put my whole identity wrapped around music. So when that color was lost, I was lost. That was the story that I had attributed. And at first there was hope I can change. I took a month off of talking, trying to see if it would fix it. And then from hope it went to denial. Try to sing through it. Just keep doing music. Just play a little bit softer. Don't play as loud. And then I reached a point of depression, like darkness. Like, who am I? Really? Who am I? It's really interesting because so often when we see something like that, we see it as failure. But crisis is the time for you to redevelop, for you to come alive in a new way. It's where you can evolve. And that's what I did. I had to find a way to survive. Why? Because there was something abiding within me that said, no, okay, music isn't here. There's more. There's something that you can do. There's something that you can do. Music is put on the shelf. You will get it back. And I thoroughly believe that. But what are you going to do now? So I evolved. Before, I was working as a personal trainer, and I was using that to fund my music. But now what I did was I focused my time on really training the people that I was training. And as I did that, the name of my business was iGym Fitness, the internal gym, and I'll talk about that, but the internal gym is your mind. Before you grow the body, you first must water the mind. And as I focused on my clients and trained them and saw them get results, I also noticed something else. I saw their eyes light up. I saw them start to believe in themselves more and more and more. And I saw that the life that they lived outside of the gym changed because of the changes that happened inside the gym. Now, it wasn't that they got a six-pack and they were great. That's an external motivation and it only lasts so long. But what happens when somebody lifts a weight they thought they couldn't lift, when somebody runs a distance they thought they couldn't, they begin to gain something called self-efficacy. I later learned that it was self-efficacy. I called it confidence. And that confidence spread, it bled out into their lives. And the feeling that I got when I saw that, as weird as it is, was the same transcendent feeling that I had when I was making music. So what does that mean? I'm a musician, right? I'm a personal trainer. Okay, so I'm a lifestyle and fitness coach now. That's what I'm supposed to be. But then I knew that I needed to take it further. And I got accepted to UC Berkeley, and I had to almost kind of set the business on pause for a little bit. What am I going to be now? I'm going to be a student. So I go to UC Berkeley, but before I went to UC Berkeley, the one thing I gained from training people was the beauty of empowerment. And this is the second part. I see a world where each individual is empowered to fully express their unique greatness in the world. And that's what we desire, to empower the greatness that is in you. And it's not anybody else's definition, it's your definition of greatness. That's what we want to empower in you. So I go to UC Berkeley and I study interdisciplinary studies as well. Hannah, great choice. And what I focused on was public health and psychology. How does the mind affect our behaviors? How can we use our brain? If we shift paradigms in our brains, automatically your body will respond in the way that you want to. How do you all of a sudden study and understand which internal motivations draw you forward versus just seeking external motivation? So I wrote a proposal to do some research, and I did some research, and I called it the internal gym. And it's still all tied to the same thing. The internal gym is the concept that if we change your mind, you can change your habits. And so what I did was I had participants that would exercise in 2 different venues, and they would meet every weekend with me for a focus group. It was an intervention program designed to kind of help people fight the cognitive barriers of making change in their habits, to help people have a social support system to be able to push beyond those barriers. Now what happened was it went really well, and I'm still in the process of coding and doing the analysis. What's interesting though is that it went so well that the following semester I put a decal out. And the decal, these are apps and websites that work in tandem with the programs, but the app for the decal, this decal has been up for 4 semesters, and now Fadi Francis is leading it. He was a student in the class, and then he became a co-facilitator, and now he's facilitating the course, and I'm just stepping back and watching it. Empowerment. It's what I live for. This is what I do. So what am I? Am I a teacher? Right? No. I'm a researcher. That's what I am. I'm a researcher. Behavioral researcher. Remember that. No, I'm a personal trainer, lifestyle fitness coach. Sounds better. No, I'm a musician. No, I'm Berke. Right? Who are you? Who are you? These are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. In all of these things, I talk about greatness and how we want to empower people to become great. Finding your greatness. And what I say is that greatness is not there. It's not that I walk over to greatness and I can't be happy until I get great. I can't predicate my happiness on an external environment. It has to be internal. When I'm studying intrinsic and extrinsic motivation is when you are motivated by the enjoyment that you gain from doing the activity. So in the classes, in the training, and everything that I do, greatness is moving towards greatness. Now think about what happens. If I predicate happiness over there, that means I have all sadness and anxiousness all the way till I get to this point, and then I have greatness, and then something called hedonic adaptation comes, and then adaptation, and then you kind of lose the joy of it, and you're looking for the next thing. But what if every step was joy? What if goals were excuses for adventure? Then greatness is happening all the time. But you have to have the mind of a child. You have to have that youthful spirit, and that's what we try to build. Now, as you guys go on to craft your vision, here's some tools that come from research, come from my own anecdotal experiences as a trainer, and life in general. What you're going to need as you build this thing is something called, in psychology, it's called controlled thinking. It's also called mindfulness. Be aware, be mindful, and I'll explain what that is. The next thing that you're going to need is prepare to fall short. Failure happens, but you have to redefine what failure is. Prepare to fall short. It happens, but failure is a beautiful thing. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't lose my voice. How weird is that? And I can tell you the skills that I've gained since that time, I wouldn't trade them for my voice at that time. And the other is compassion and support. So I want to do something real quick. Controlled thinking. Everybody on my beat, I want you to say the color, not the word, the color. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, go, then you go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. All right. Oh my gosh, you guys sound amazing. Call a doctor. All right, next. I want you to say the color on my count. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Okay, seriously, stop. That was awful. That was awful. Reverse round of applause. Silence. Stare and point. What is the difference between the first and the second? The first is automatic. You're reading it and you're seeing it. They're both congruent. It's easy. You don't have to think about it. The Stroop effect. All of a sudden, your mind says read, but I told you to see the color. And your brain was fighting it. It requires controlled thinking. You have to slow down. You have to take time. You have to focus. You have to think. We talk about this in the program. You have to become mindful. The same thing applies in your life. If you guys are trying to find out what your vision is, you have to become mindful. You have to see, what is it that I like? What do I love? Does that vibe with me? Does that not? And as you start to understand, you'll find, hey, that's not towards my North Star. This job, it pays a lot. Man, it pays a lot. But I don't feel fulfilled. There's something, I know what my vision is. I know what I live for. All of a sudden, you define greatness. All of a sudden, you don't have to follow the GPA. You don't have to follow the title. You don't have to follow the paycheck. You follow yourself. And I guarantee you that is worth any amount of money and any GPA. 4.0, what are numbers? What are numbers? Who taught you that? Who told you that's real? You determine what greatness is. But you have to be mindful. Another thing, prepare to fall short. This is awesome. I use this in the research. It's called the transitional curve of change. And I'm going to explain it to you. You're going to understand it, I think, as time goes by. I wish this thing had a laser on it. But when you start any new endeavor, you are uninformed and optimistic. You are excited about life. Okay? You were just like, I'm going to do this. New Year's, got this. Vision, on it. Let's do it. President, we got this. Then life happens. And then you go into informed pessimism. You're like, wow, that takes a lot more work than I thought. This requires controlled thinking. You're saying that I have to work out to change my body? Whoa, 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 whoa. I paid you, man. Usually that works. Okay. So what happens as you go down, you go into the valley of despair. And most people at this point, when they don't feel that they can do it, they don't feel self-efficacy, they drop and they relapse. And it's a cycle. But if you can push through, you move into informed optimism, and it says fulfillment. But to me, I think it's just this constant thing that keeps on going. And I've added to this in my research, and it's great. I've added to the theories because from my own experience, but mostly from the experience that I've had with the clients that I've had. But in my research specifically, we're going through data analysis and seeing if some of these theories show up or don't. But what we have to do is, how do we stop people from giving up on their vision? That's where the last thing comes in. That's compassion. It's okay to fail. Redefining failure. Prepare and know that failing and falling short is going to happen. But understanding that if you're compassionate on yourself, if you give yourself grace and say, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm me, and that's perfect. And I'm learning how to do this. And if I'm a little bit off, and a little bit off, and a little bit off, but I get there, then I was always on. Right? So important, guys. As you work with these to create your vision, use mindfulness, be aware. Don't just let this be, oh, I had to do it because, Dan and they told me to come. This is real. This is your life. All we're trying to do is, if we can just shift your trajectory just like this, you add 20 years, that's a different human being. Your choice. This is a call to greatness, guys. Greatness is for you. But you have to choose to enact. You have to choose to engage. Thank you so much.